marker, democratic.
Mr. Barone, first of all, please accept our heartfelt congratulations on your recent election and thank you for taking time to speak with us. It's a pleasure to hold this exclusive interview with you here in Baku within the framework of the 67th Annual Assembly, International Association of Judges.
Yes.
First of all, this year Baku has become focal point for the international legal community. How do you assess the significance of holding the 67th General Assembly of the International Association of Judges here? And what is its importance for the international judicial system?
Well, in our association, we have this annual assembly organized each year by one member of the IAJ. In this case, for this year, our colleagues from Azerbaijan offered the country to host our annual meeting, and I was really glad and flattered to because it happened here. Because I knew that we would have elections and I would run for presidency, and so I'm so glad to have been elected in a so beautiful country and in a so well organized assembly. Actually, our colleagues from Azerbaijan, they deserve all greetings because they really did a good work to organize it. It was excellent until now, and I'm sure that until the last day, it still be perfect. Yeah.
The Azerbaijani judicial system has been undergoing reforms in recent years. How do you evaluate the developments and experience you have observed here?
As you may know, the most important focus that we have according to our status is the protection, the defense of the judicial independence. So we always try to see in the countries to check if the judicial independence is really observed, respected, and when in a country this is an issue, when the association of the country asks us for help, for us to intervene, we try to protect the independence of our peers in this country through statements and other measures that everything we can do in order to foster the independence of the judiciary in such countries. In this case, in Azerbaijan, we had today in the morning an international conference about the relations between the judiciary and the other powers and the other branches of the government, so to say, the legislative and the executive power. And I was very interested in the explanation, the exhibition, the presentation that we saw this morning about the structure of the judiciary here after the reform and the checks and balances and also the institutions that were created in order to guarantee the independence of the judiciary.
What priorities have been set for the association under the new leadership? What are your expectations for the 2026 IAG, and which areas do you see as most in need of further development?
Yeah, we already know that the next meeting of our association will be in Portugal, in Lisbon. And the expectations are the best because Portuguese colleagues are also active members of the IJ. They are doing their best to organize a good assembly, a meeting, but they are, after they have seen what you did here, they are a little bit worried. They said, well, I don't know if we can do such a beautiful thing, so marvelous, such a marvelous meeting like this one in Baku. But I'm sure that they will do in their way, of course, but each country has its own culture, yeah, but the way how they organize a meeting. But of course, I'm sure they will be able to organize a good meeting as good as this one.
I would like to talk about globalized. In a globalizing world, safeguarding judicial independence is becoming increasingly challenging. In your view, which mechanisms should be strengthened internationally to ensure this independence?
Well, I believe the first step, most important thing, it would be to enshrine those safeguards in the constitution of the country, because usually the constitution is more difficult to be changed. So if you have the safeguards in the constitution of the country, the trend is that those safeguards will be respected, observed. And if not, you have a constitutional court or the Supreme Court, depending on the structure of the judiciary in the country, that will analyze, for example, a lawsuit about the constitutionality of some act. But beyond that, I think we need to have a pedagogical campaigns, didactic campaigns to show everyone that the respect of the judicial independence, it's not for the judge, it's for the population, the citizenship, because the citizen needs to have a judiciary that he can rely on. And if the judiciary doesn't have independence, how can a citizen rely on the decision of the judiciary?
Mr. Barone, the use of artificial intelligence in justice systems is already on the agenda in many countries. How do you assess the impact of this technology on judicial processes and the fairness of decisions?
Yeah, you rose a important topic, and really we are discussing that all over the world, the use of technologies, AI especially, in the judiciary. And my point of view about that is that you can deny that the artificial intelligence is here, AI is here, exists, and will be used. And I think AI should be used not only in the judiciary, but in the daily life, but as a tool to help us to do our job, not to replace, never to replace the job of the judge himself or herself. I think there are many activities of a judge that can be made by AI. For example, research. In my work, when I have to examine a case, the first thing I have to do is to check if I don't know, if I don't have this information, I have to check if this issue or such a case has been already examined by the court, if there is a precedent, for example. And this research, the AI can do for me. or an assistant, as an assistant do it. But it doesn't mean that that I can and that I should leave the AI decide in my place. I'm the judge, and I'm the one who has to decide in the end.
In recent years, some countries have seen increasing political and public pressure on judges. What international initiatives does the EIG support or plan to implement to address this trend?
Well, there are many measures. It depends on what kind of attack, what kind of problem the colleagues have, what kind of, if it's just pressure or if it's an attempt sometimes. So, because we have many kinds of intimidation. Sometimes, of course, to pressure, try to interfere in the judicial independence, the impartiality of the judge. It can be just pressure, like a political pressure, but can be a threat, or even an attack, personal attack. So in some parts of the world, we have problems with the security of the judges, the safety of also the life of the judge. And then when it happens, for example, we try to contact the authorities of the country, try to reestablish this security to safeguard the life or integrity of this judge that has been threatened or attacked.
Public trust in judiciary system has become a major discussion point worldwide. Which international practices do you believe could serve as examples to restore or strengthen this trust?
People lose trust in the judiciary because of campaigns. For example, now the most recent phenomenon is the campaigns against the judges in social media. People start to read in social media criticism, attacks against the judges, but because what they have ruled, they have decided. And what we try to do is to defend the judges and to show that what has been said that usually is not true.
Finally, from your perspective, what role does an independent judiciary play in maintaining the sustainable of democracy? And how would you describe the responsibility of judges globally in upholding these values?
I think there is no democracy without judicial independence. Judicial independence is necessary because one of our functions is the function of the judiciary. One of the most important ones is to review, for example, governmental acts. And if you don't have a strong judiciary, an impartial judiciary, an independent judiciary that can review the acts of the government, what you have, the government will do what it wants, because nobody will say, no, this is against the Constitution, because it won't be independent. So it's very important for democracy to have this kind of judiciary. And this is the authentic one. The judiciary was meant to be independent, because otherwise it can't do its job.
Mr. Barone, thank you once again for this interview. We hope that your new term will bring fresh dynamism and strength to the International Association of Judges. We wish you every success.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.